K-pop, my favorite music genre.
Oppan Gangnam Style.
The music genre where very attractive Korean boys and girls perform their super catchy songs with their extremely synchronized choreographies. It fascinates me how much the genre has grown over the years, especially for me. Like, nobody knew K-pop when I listened to it as a kid, and now every child I come across is singing
How you like that?
But seriously though, it really is super cool to see how global K-pop has become, and it really makes me happy to see so many groups reaching international success and having their hard work pay off. Now, when you think of K-pop, there are many groups that probably come to mind. Groups like BTS, Blackpink, TXT, Twice, and Stray Kids. But we can't forget the groups that come from the big K-pop conglomerate itself, SM Entertainment. Founded by Lee Soo-man, SM Entertainment has been in the K-pop business since 1995, starting off with HOT being the first official K-pop boy band in the industry, and since then, there's been many more groups that have carried their legacy. You are probably aware of their current groups right now, carrying on this legacy. You know, NCT and their multiple subunits, Aespa with their virtual buddies, and this girl. Now RIIZE, who are clearly rising up to the top internationally. RIIZE is 7. I will honestly say, SM does know how to create the most talented groups throughout K-pop's existence. They have truly made icons. To think that now they're celebrating 30 years in the industry is absolutely incredible. Now, with a 30-year history, there are definitely some girl groups that have played a crucial part in their success story. Starting off with SDS, debuting in 1997, becoming the first official girl group under the company, representing first generation K-pop. Then, coming into second generation, we have the legendary Girls' Generation, named as the nation's girl group, setting up the standard of what a K-pop girl group should be. Of course, then there's FX, who showcased a unique and experimental style, hitting off with hits like Electric Shock and Four Walls. Who could then forget Red Velvet, representing the third generation, inheriting two different sides to their music, having the red side presenting a fun, bubbly sound, and then the velvet side switching up to more of a moody R&B sound. And previously mentioned Aespa, taking over the girl group scene in the 4th gen, with their out of the ordinary concept, winning awards release after release with their comebacks. They really have kept up the SM girl group legacy. However, there is one girl group that seems to always be pushed under the rug. A girl group that doesn't really ever get noticed or acknowledged ever when it comes to SM's long 30-year history. Never shown in their socials, their merchandise, their cinematic films, their bakery goods, not even their company website. You don't even see them mentioned in people's TikToks ranking K-pop SM girl groups. Who are we talking about today? What girl group are we missing out on that is under their 30-year-old company? Well, my fellow K-pop listeners, I'm here to talk about SM's forgotten girl group, CSJH THE GRACE, also known as The Grace. Now, before I start this unnecessary video essay of me rambling about a forgotten girl group, hello, I'm Mountain Joy, or Harry for short, and I am your awkward little Asian who is trying to make a good impression on YouTube. Nice to meet ya. If you like this style of content where I attempt to get into the nitty gritty of Korean entertainment, then please subscribe to my channel and give it a thumbs up. This is my first video essay, so I can't say I'm fully amazing at it yet, but I hope it sparks some interest in you to keep on watching. Anyways, enough about me, let's get into the story of SM's forgotten girl group, CSJH THE GRACE. Okay, so we are in the early 2000s, the era where our first generation idols were ending their run in the entertainment industry, and it was time for a new wave to come into K-pop. More noticeably, the Hallyu wave, where Korean culture and popularity has risen around Asia. The time where we welcome our second gen idols into the scene. The perfect time for SM Entertainment to start debuting fresh new idols into the market. This began with TVXQ, or Doban Shingi, who made their debut in 2003, becoming the first new boy band from SM Entertainment to represent second gen. They definitely made an impression on the nation, winning music shows with their debut single, Hug, and becoming one of the most successful Asian acts of their generation. With big success means more recognition outside of Korea, to which they also promoted in Japan early in their career. This was a common marketing strategy that I noticed when doing my research, that SM would attempt to branch to the Japanese market to promote their groups. This was most likely due to the success of Boa, the iconic soloist who basically carried SM to the backbone while she was in Japan. Her success definitely made SM want to keep that momentum with their new artists. Because of the success of TVXQ, SM was brewing up a new girl group into the scene, carrying that momentum that their seniors were doing. Enter The Grace. Debuting in 2005, the group consisted of 4 members, Lena, Dana, Sunday, and Stephanie. They were introduced as the female counterpart of TVXQ, and they were expected to be SM's next big breakout girl group. They were potentially supposed to be some sort of a cappella or a vocal-based girl group that also portrayed versatility with a much more mature concept for groups at the time. Their concept was that each member came out of heaven and they had their own letter that pieced the group's name. From my understanding, they were potentially angels from heaven that were super talented and can go off with their graceful presence. No pun intended. But it sounded pretty cool to me. Now let's get into the members themselves, because I found some pretty interesting facts in my research about certain members. Introducing our first member, Lena. She represented the S in the group's name, which stood for the Korean word Sangmi, meaning beauty of heaven. He previously debuted in an R&B music duo under SM years prior called Aespa and RIIZE. They didn't really last long, as member Isak left the duo after 2 years, but Jiyeon, which was Lena's real name, was still in the company, and soon enough debuted later with The Grace as their leader, visual, and main vocalist. Next we have Dana, representing the H in the group's name, standing for the Korean word Hyol, translating to happiness of heaven. She had quite a little resume being in the entertainment industry prior to The Grace, as she was an actress on TV shows and early music videos for other artists, even debuting her own self-titled solo album in 2001. Dana has also participated in a few SM Town feature albums and singles. I'm unsure of the validity of this statement, but she was apparently likely to be the quote-unquote second Boa. So, she was pretty experienced because of her activities as a solo act, probably solidifying her position as The Grace's lead vocalist. Then we have Sunday, being the J of the group's name, standing for the Korean word Jisung, which translates to soft voice of heaven. She was also a solo act, but as an artist in Japan, releasing a couple singles in Japanese before re-debuting as the next vocalist in the band. Finally, we have Stephanie, representing our last letter, C, which stood for the Korean word Chongmu, meaning heavenly dance. She participated in the Youth Best Selection competition in 2004, to which she won and got her a contract with SM. She was a skilled dancer and was trained in professional ballet, obviously granting her to be the main dancer and the group's maknae. Now looking at each member's history, it looked like a pretty solid lineup to me. I mean, the members were all vocally talented and they had some experience working in the industry themselves, so they were bound to become successful, right? Well, let's see. The Grace made their anticipated debut in 2005 with their single Too Good, a powerful pop ballad that expresses having someone that is quote-unquote too good to be true. They also had another single called Boomerang, a very SM style song in my opinion, where the song started off with a cover of Elvis Presley's Can't Help Falling in Love with You, to then switching up to an upbeat tempo, Britney Spears inspired song. Like, guys, listen to this. SM literally still did their weird switch ups back then. but they were both solid singles at the time. Pretty catchy too in my opinion. Interestingly, they did not have their debut stage in Korea. They actually had their first performance in China, performing their 2 singles on Chinese television, but they did eventually debut on Korean TV on SBS Inkigayo. But I just thought it was interesting that they debuted on Chinese television instead of Korea. I will say these girls were talented vocalists. Like, I'm telling you, that SM water was kicking in before your favorites could even have a sip, y'all.
Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you.
After their debut, The Grace would promote in China, releasing Chinese versions of their songs and then following the footsteps of their seniors by heading to Japan. From my research, I noticed that they did a lot of going back and forth with Japan and Korea, because when their second single, The Club, featuring Rain, was released, the promotions were quite short-lived in South Korea. They also had a third single in Japan called Sweet Flower, which also became a theme for a radio and music show. During this period, they were jumping everywhere from Korea to Japan to China, but they never really piqued big interest as sales on the charts were never as high as SM probably hoped. By November 2006, The Grace released probably one of their most well-known songs, My Everything. A very beautiful ballad track, I would say. That definitely showcased how much potential they had in sales, as the song did peak at number 30 on Korea's month-end sales chart. But they reached even bigger heights as the following year, The Grace debuted their first album, One More Time, okay? Alongside a title track with the same name. This was by far their most successful release as they reached the top of the charts on music shows by this time. Shortly after, they released the same album in Taiwan and it was doing really well, earning the girls different awards for their performance. This led to more releases overseas, especially in Japan with their first Japanese album, Graceful 4, and then more singles such as Stand Up People and Here. The group would also participate in SM projects like their family albums and singles. Unfortunately though, in 2008, the group's website announced that Stephanie would be absent from group activities due to back injury, and that the group will continue to do activities as a 3. So shortly after that, the group was suddenly gone. Now, they did make some appearances in a few SM projects like their SM Town concerts and whatnot, but there have been no new releases. It wasn't until 2011 where SM announced the first subunit of The Grace, Dana and Sunday, with their song One More Chance. A very dated song in my opinion, a song that definitely was for its time in K-pop as many SM groups played with this sound a lot. It felt like a FX song that was rejected essentially. But yeah, the unit did not promote long at all after having a year of doing activities. They never really took off after that. And that was it. Since then, there was no news from The Grace for years until 2016 where SM announced Stephanie's departure from the group after her contract expired with the company. Then in 2020, Dana departed from the company after her contract expired as well, and in the following year, Sunday left for the same reason. Now, that leaves us with the question, what happened to The Grace? Okay, so this is the part where the theories come in and where everyone kind of thinks what really happened to the group. The main theory that I seem to always come across is that Stephanie's injury caused the group to not move forward, and SM decided just to put their money on the upcoming groups like Girls' Generation and FX, as they were going higher and higher with their respected releases, and the idea was basically that there was no need for the Grace anymore, as they had already hit big success with their other girl groups. However, I wanted to try and give a more reasonable and less blunt explanation as to why the Grace never really took off, because I don't think it's really fair to say,
Because of one member breaking her back, there's no point to invest in this group anymore. Well, move on to the next lot, everyone.
no, we want to be respectful here. From the beginning, I don't think SM had a solid vision on what they wanted the Grace to be. When I was looking at their releases, I noticed that there was never a solid concept set in stone for them. Yes, they had songs and albums, but I couldn't help but think their singles like The Club or Boomerang sounded a lot like Boa songs. It felt like the music was hand-me-downs from their big sister, you know? They also had more of a mature image in their styling, and compared to other groups at the time, I mean, look at Girls' Generation, who were the complete opposite. They were youthful and bright. They had that girl next door image, which was probably more attractive to a younger demographic. The public may have felt disconnected to the Grace, as being marketed as essentially the female TVXQ may have rubbed certain fans off the wrong way. The Grace also never had a consistent schedule with their comebacks, as each release they had, it felt like they were going back and forth around Asia, possibly not giving the South Korean audience a chance to fully digest who the Grace actually was. By this time as well, SM started to invest in other groups who were garnering international audiences through social media and platforms like YouTube. It also doesn't help that the Grace was mostly in Japan, because each release I saw, they really prioritized their Japanese releases a lot more, even holding concerts for them. I think SM wanted to just have a new girl group to fill in the gap that they were missing at the time, as TVXQ was like the HOT and the Grace would have been the SES counterpart, if you get what I'm saying. They wanted a counterpart to their groups, and some of the members were already experienced as artists, which may have also been the reason why SM thought that the Grace would easily reach the same success as their fellow artists at the time. Now, I do think Stephanie's back injury may have played a part in the halt of promotion for the group, but ultimately, I think the main reason was that SM never established a proper concept and sound for them, and they never reached the highest of charts, if you get what I mean. To me, it felt like the Grace had the potential to reach success if they were given more time, but a lot of their promotions felt mostly rushed and not a lot of attention was given to them. I think they could have done much more if they had the chance to, but due to obviously going from country to country and having pretty rushed promotions, there was just enough time and chance to really digest who they were. I wouldn't say SM completely forgot about the Grace though, as they have attempted to promote them by debuting their unit. But again, it felt like they were trying to keep up with the times of K-pop and not fully establishing their own unique sound. So, that leaves us with the question, where are the members now? We'll start off with the leader, Lina, who has branched her career into musical theatre. With her powerful vocals to her advantage, performing for multiple musicals in Korea, she has definitely garnered a much higher reputation in that field. She also got married to her fellow musical actor Jung Sung-jo in 2014, later creating her own family, to which she shares on her own personal Instagram. Then we have Sunday, who has also walked the path of musical theatre, performing in many musicals in her own right. She has also released a solo track called Still, collaborating with singer Kim Tae-hyun of Dick Park as part of the SM Station project. She also got married and shares her family on her socials as well. Diana has also released her own SM Station track called Touch You, to which she also promoted on various music shows. She also had her own lifetime reality program called Danauda, or Danauda. I apologize for my pronunciation, where she shares her weight loss journey after fighting through depression due to a breakup and loss of a loved one. However, in 2018, Dana sparked controversy after a live broadcast that she held where she was responding to fans' comments, expressing her frustrations with fans for low music streams and saying that the Grace members are the reason for the group not being able to release any new music. She also held a knife in front of the camera in response to a fan asking her how she deals with hate comments. She did later apologize for her behavior and deactivated her account shortly after. As of right now, she has been keeping a low profile and is staying out of the public eye. Finally, we have Stephanie, who has had the most active solo career, debuting her first single album, The New Beginning, and coming out with more singles over the years. Her fellow The Grace member, Lena, even featured on one of her singles, Say It. Stephanie was also a member of the Los Angeles Ballet and was also a dance mentor on the survivor show Idol School. She is currently in a relationship with a former Major League football player who is 23 years her senior, and as of now, she's continuing her career in dance and is living a supposedly good life. So, what's next for The Grace? As of right now, it is less likely for The Grace to release any new product right now. They have been kept under the rug for over 10 years now, and it's pretty clear that they're no longer a group anymore. I'm not sure why SM has not made any statement or status of the group. Maybe it had to do with SM's pride and never quote unquote disbanding their groups, but who knows. The company is now celebrating their 30-year anniversary, and it should be acknowledged their involvement in those 30 years. However, it is interesting to know that not everything about them has been forgotten, as Girls' Generation covered My Everything in the SM The Culture The Future Anniversary album. So, it's not likely that The Grace will have any new releases, but nevertheless, that doesn't mean they won't ever come back. But as of right now, they're simply a piece of SM history, and that should be celebrated regardless. So, that was the story of SM's Forgotten Girl Group. Thank you for watching, and I hope it was somewhat interesting, and please leave comments on your thoughts of The Grace. If you like this video essay, then please subscribe, and I'll be happy to put out more. Well then, I gotta go. Bye bye!